Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's market analysis class, Monday, the 18th of September. Before we get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only, and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. All right, let's have a look at what's happened last week. Well, I'll put our coming news this week, and we can have a bit of a look. All right, well, last week from the US, we had finally we got some confirmation from the Fed that there is a possibility of another rate hike this year. That gave a lot of optimism to the markets. US dollar increased in strength, particularly post comments. Okay, and we saw that towards the end of the week. From the UK, Prime Minister May pretty much disappointed the market with no real, I guess, substance to her comments regarding the terms of the Brexit and in particular the divorce payment that should be paid to the European Union as the UK exits the Confederation. So basically there's no real optimism, and the investors were disappointed that no direction was particularly given in that area. Over the weekend we had two parliamentary elections. We'll start off in Germany, which would affect the euro. Well, Angela Merkel won a fourth term. No real surprises there, and this could really be seen as a victory for the euro itself. So as Europe is just waking up right now, let's see how investors take to the market, and let's see how it influences the euro. The other election that we had was in New Zealand. That was on the weekend. We actually still don't have a result on that one, and it could still take they're talking about a couple of weeks before we actually find out who will lead the country there. New Zealand's got a heavier week this week, which we'll go through in one moment in terms of data, so it comes into play a little bit more than normal. Aussie last week ended on a down note, mainly on the back of the RBA comments, basically that RBA is not really interested in following other major central banks in terms of raising interest rates, and also the downgrade of China from a A+ rating to a AA- rating affected the Aussie dollar, particularly towards the end of the week. Alright, so that's what's pretty much happened last week. Let's have a look at this week moving forward and things to look out for. There's a lot of news from the US. As I'm highlighting here for us, we have Miss Yellen will be speaking. That will be a little bit of a highlight, and unemployment claims on that Thursday. They're the two ones that stick out the most from all the US data this week coming. From New Zealand, this is a big one. Well, New Zealand, we still are swinging on the election results as they keep counting votes, and also which party will actually lead once the votes are counted, and who can be persuaded to move from one party to another. The independent becomes a little bit higher in play on that front, but we also have the RBNZ with their official interest rates decisions. That's on a Thursday morning, so Kiwi is going to be one this particular week that will be a little bit more volatile than normal. From the UK, we have Mr. Carney speaking a couple of times this week, and also the current account figures on Friday. From Europe, we have Mr. Draghi will be speaking this evening and also on Friday evening as well. And what we're really waiting for on this front is we're waiting for the ECB to give us some kind of indication if they will be making some kind of statement in the next meeting regarding their monetary stimulus and their tapering sort of decisions. So that's what most investors are looking for, or some kind of a hint that it will be happening or when it will be happening. I think the currency this week, the one that's going to be affected the most by data itself, is the Kiwi Dollar. Okay, it's the one that's going to come into play the most, and just be aware of that, particularly because of the interest rate decision and still the ongoing aftermath of the parliamentary elections. As always, guys, the times that I'm showing you are in my local time. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm located in Sydney, so you can reference to wherever you're watching this from. Alright, let me bring my charts forward. Let's go through each of the majors and have a look at what the possibilities are, how we can position ourselves and see what's happening in the market. So let's start off with the Aussie dollar. Last week we saw this particular channel. We actually did try and trade this in this direction. I'm not sure if anybody traded it or not. I believe this trade may have got to, give me a second, let me just measure, 70, 80. Okay, so this trade itself, your entry point there with your stop here and a target there, this trade reached the 1-to-1 point. So if anybody took that trade, you would have been able to get at least to the 1-to-1 level before it turned around. And this basically turnaround was from the Fed Reserve. Their optimism in interest rates basically brought the market back down. Can I just get a show of hands? Did anybody actually trade that one? This is one that we spotted on Monday, so if you did, great. Hopefully you got something out, or your decision point at 1-to-1, at least you broke even. What's happened now is I'm kind of half tempted to move this line as such. The problem is it's not really a confirmed line because this is only my second point. Of course, this is my first point, but this would only be my second point because we're not actually touching here anymore. So if I was to move the line down here, it's not really a line. I would have to wait for the market to move away from it and come back down for the third touch before I could technically try and trade it off a line. Okay. A couple of comments. Give me one moment. Can you guys see my chart now? Can I just get a confirmation? Let me know if you can see my drawing tool. Yes, apologies. Thank you. I had my screen on pause. Okay, very briefly again. This line, we had it there last week, and we actually traded this inside candle situation there, which basically meant you entered there was your stop, and this trade actually reached the 1-to-1 level. Okay, just marking it out for you so you can see it. What's happened then? It's come down and it's broken down. I'm tempted to drag this line and move it as such, but if I do that, this is technically not a line yet because I don't know if this market's going to keep going down, and then I'll have to keep adjusting the line. Okay, so if I really wanted to trade off this level, I would need to see the market move away from it and come back down, and then that level there would be the third touch, so being 1, 2 and 3, and then technically I would be able to trade it. When we took last week's trade, I had already one touch there, I had two touches there, and I actually traded the third touch, and that's why we were able to do it. I cannot do that now, so I've got to leave it where it is. And I get the sense, the feeling that perhaps the Aussie dollar has run out of puff. We failed to make a higher high, okay, and it appears we've made a little bit of a lower low, and we've broken this pattern in this direction. So if I was a very aggressive trader, I'm tempted to try and trade off these two candles as we test the same support line, which could now act as resistance line for us. So if I'm going to try and trade these two candles here, and it is a little bit of an aggressive trade, okay, what I need to do is I need to wait for today's candle to finish, and if tomorrow I end up with an inside candle situation here, okay, then I will try and trade the following day the break in the opposite direction. Okay, so it's a little bit of a different type of trade that you guys have seen me take before. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is as follows. This level has acted as support. Okay, it's kicked off 3 times, but now it's actually broken through the support. It's coming back up to the line, and now we think it could act as a resistance. Okay. Question, the break of which candle? Yeah, let me just try and draw it as best as I can. Let's pretend that tomorrow this candle, that one there, ends up looking like this. So let's say tomorrow when I look at this chart, this candle looks like this. Okay, so now this big one here would be engulfing this one, or the little yellow one that I've just drawn is inside of this one. So the way that I would trade this is tomorrow I'd put a pending sell stop there, and as we break the low of the little yellow one, that's how I would trade it. Okay, it is a little bit more advanced, something different to what I normally would do, and this would be considered a very aggressive trade. Okay, so if it's not you, that's okay. Just watch it and just to see what actually plays out. Okay, so other than that, I don't have anything for us. If we want to wait and have a little bit more safety, what we would need to do then is wait for this to pull out a little bit, pull back up, give us a fractal candle set up like that, and then take your trade from somewhere in that direction. All I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the first trade out of the break. Alright. Okay, so that's Aussie dollar. Let me move along. Let's have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, quick recap. Last week off a 4-hour trade chart, I called out this trade. I said we had this one here, and I said try and trade an inside candle off that because we had this. Let me just squeeze it so we can see it a bit. Just focus on the yellow channels here, guys. So we had one touch, two touches up there. We had one, two, and there's the third one. And what we tried to trade was an inside candle there in this direction. Okay, now let me zoom in and let's see what the result was. We can clearly see that I produced two sets of inside candles. So essentially the trade started at the break there. My stop was here, and this trade easily hit better than 2 to 1. It actually hit about 3 to 1. Okay, I'm just going to show of hands who took this trade. I called it out live last week. I believe I said something along the lines, go back and check your chart at 7 p.m. If you have an inside candle, there's your trade. Anyone? No one. Okay. Alright, not to worry. No one took that one. So let's see what we have this week. In any case, it's just a recap just so that you can see it was a nice channel trade. So let me now, I'll get rid of this one. Let me go to my daily. On a daily chart, I still see nothing. Okay, it's as if the euro, after a huge run, and look, it is a very long run from down here up to here. We're talking about nearly 1,500 pips. It's a very big run. Is now starting to kind of run out or consolidate before it maybe continues or just trades sideways for a little while. So when the market's doing that, the easiest types of trades to get out of it is just to zoom in and have a look at that, and actually offer, I can start to see a couple of patterns there, but I'm going to see it better on a 4-hour chart. Let me zoom in. I just want to get rid of these lines. 1 second. And now I'll go into my 4-hour chart. And the first thing that I want to do, I can start to see okay, so actually there's a better line over here. Okay, I really like that. The bottom line is very well established. I've got 1, 2, and 3. Top line is 1, 2 and 3 as well. So essentially now what I'm going to look for, the easiest type of trades, especially with a consolidating market, I'm going to look for trades here and here, and I'm going to try and trade into this direction. Alright, so I'm going to look for inside candles, any price action reversal pattern, shooting stars, hanging mans, engulfing, any of those, and I'm going to attempt to trade them back into the consolidation zone. Okay, pretty straightforward. Euro USD, we just got to wait. Now I am on a 4-hour chart, so we could be down here tonight or up here tonight. Alright, so just keep an eye on it and let's just see how we go with that. Let's move along. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD is definitely consolidating. Let me just zoom right out so I can see a better picture. We can see it. You can see these candles here. It's basically, it's kind of like running out of path. And when I go into a 4-hour, it even looks the same. No trade on this one, guys. I really want to take a trade. Actually, the closest thing to a trade is a bit of a flag pattern. But it's just gone on a little bit too long. This would be what we call our pole. And this is like the flag. And typically, when it breaks in that direction, that's the trade that you would take. Okay, this would be like a flagpole type trade. Usually the flag is not this long. It would be a little bit shorter, and I think this was the attempt to break out, and it failed. So I'm not prepared to trade that, but that's what it looks like. Okay, GBP USD, the cable this week, we got no trade. There's nothing. Okay, the best we can do is we can wait for it to come back into this region, look for price action there, and see if we can continue along with our trend. That's all we can do. Alright, so let's move it along and let's have a look at the US yen. Okay, this looks alright. Let me see. Okay, the top line's pretty good. Bottom line's good as well. So this would be a straightforward type trade. We are nearly there. I just want this to go a little bit more, get to this level, and then I'm looking for my price action reversal. Okay, this is a very, very straightforward trade. I think I drew this set of parallel lines last week. And we basically we need to wait, but we are closer. All right, so I think this one's got a high probability that we do push towards there, and then from there we can try and attempt to trade back down. Okay, so this one, the game plan is pretty straightforward. Let's wait till we get to the perimeter and we'll try and trade it back down with a price action reversal pattern. Euro yen. Okay, Euro yen last week I drew the wedge, but we never got a trade in there, and we actually came out of the wedge. So when you trade a wedge, if it's a rising wedge, even if you're a breakout trader, you don't trade a breakout. If it's a rising wedge, say this one's rising, you don't trade breaking up. You can trade breaking down, but not up. Okay, so that's if you're a breakout trader. And if it's a falling wedge, a wedge that's falling in this direction, so it's falling here, well then you don't trade a break down, you trade a break up. Alright, just so that you get clarification. So this here wouldn't have been a trade anyway, so what I need to do now is just get rid of this line. Let me just, and I want to show you something else. I'm just going to redraw it over here. And technically at the moment, if this could continue to go up, so that means that that line is not locked in. The only point that's locked in is this one here. Point number 2 is not quite locked in, but the reason that I'm drawing it is I just want to highlight to you what's happening down the bottom. Okay, let me draw another line. If I draw a line here, and let me just draw, so if I look at this high point compared to this high point, and I drop down a vertical to there, and I drop down a vertical to there, drawing them up, you can see clearly that down the bottom, this line is sloping downwards, whereas this one is sloping upwards. This is what we call divergence. Okay? Yes, Paul, that's right, correct. So this is what we call divergence. I think I flagged this pattern maybe on Friday or Thursday, I can't remember which day, as a chart of the day. One of the days last week I wasn't able to do the daily call, but I still posted a chart, and I think it was based off this one. I don't remember, but it looked like this from memory. Typically this is basically when the indicator starts to go out of whack with the price action is what we call divergence, and normally what will happen is there'll be a correction, and the correction would be that this will drop down. Now, does it always work? No, because if it always worked, then basically we've found, the machine to print money, and that's not the case. But it's a very good indicator of a possible reversal point in a chart. Now, when this happens at a key level, like for example, if this was some kind of resistance level, then it increases the probability. So let's just zoom out and have a quick look. Is there anything happening there? I'm going to say that's no, not really. Okay, so what I'm looking at, I'm just trying to see if that level there, maybe if that had coincided with another, level like that, then it would have been a good sign, but not really. There's something there, but I'm not going to count that. So no, it's not occurring at anywhere particularly interesting, but definitely there is divergence. So what you can do, okay, what you can do is, let me just check which candle's got the higher high, the red one or the green one. The red one is 34,398. 34. Okay, so the red one's got the higher one. So even these two, the red one has got a higher high than the green one. So technically, I couldn't even trade an inside candle back down. So I guess it's just a point of interest. I don't have enough reasons to trade it. Okay, I would like to, but I don't have enough reasons to trade it. So my plan for the Euro Yen is, even though I believe it's going to come back down, I'm not going to trade it down, but once it comes back down, if I get the price action that I'm looking for then, at that point, then I'm willing to trade it back up the hill. Okay, that's the trade that I would be looking for. I'm not going to attempt it down because it could continue to go up. All right. Okay. Let's move it along. Kiwi Dollar. So the Kiwi is one that we said we have interest rate decisions during the week and no results on the elections. Now, what does this chart look like? Already today, Kiwi is down from the weekend's results. There's still a little gap, not huge, little gap. I think it's about 30 odd pips. This chart is not speaking to me. This one, let me see. Oh, we're too much in the middle. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to find any excuse to sell this, and I can't find one. So that means I'm going to do nothing. But what I will do is I'm just going to draw in a couple of lines just to start to... Can I get a parallel? Hang on a second. I think I might have seen something. One moment. Oh, I'm trying really hard to squeeze this in, but I just kind of. Okay. I don't like this point. There's not much substance on that point. Technically, I've fitted it in. I've got 1 and 2 touches there, 1 and 2 touches up top. I'm just not thrilled about this particular point. I'm going to leave it in there just to see what happens. Okay, and this will be my game plan. If it does come back up to that level, then definitely I'm interested. Okay. If it comes down, the bottom line is good. With the bottom line, I'm very happy with. If it comes down, then I'm interested in trading in this direction as well. What I was trying to do is I was trying to find the reason to trade it right now to this level, but I can't find one, so I'm just going to leave it alone and just wait and see what happens. Okay, so there you have it. I've just drawn in this channel. I'm not thrilled about it, but let's just leave it in there. Let's see how it plays out. I'm not taking a trade anyway off it, so I'll make a decision as I reach one of those perimeters. Okay, that's my Kiwi dollar look. US CAD. Okay, I believe. Did anybody trigger? I think I put this out as a daily call chart. I think I put this one out. Did anybody trigger? You should be in it. Okay, yes, Rav's in this. Let me just see what's happened here. So you would have had a shallow stop about 670. Did you hit target 1, Paul, Rav? It must have got very, very close, but not quite. I'm not sure if you would have hit it or not. Depends on your entry. Okay. No, very, very close. So we almost got to target 1. Okay, so the plan here is technically I would be in a short position, so you can't go against that. Just for anybody new or who didn't see it, essentially the trade is we're in a trend. Okay, the trend is down. So basically trends go like this. We've pulled up, we've produced a really nice inside candle situation. We broke the bottom of the inside candle and we are currently short on this pair. Okay, so that's the situation. The trade got very, very close to the 1-to-1 target, but it did not hit, and it's still pretty much very, very close to entry right now at this particular point in time. So so US CAD still short, and just waiting to see how it plays out. Okay, so that's it. There's no other possibility on this one. We're still short US CAD. Let's move it along. Gold. I saw this last week and I was just about to post it as a chart of the day. If you look at this region here, we have a region which previously acted as resistance. So as the market came up, it bounced off. Okay, even here it bounced off a little bit, shoots through, now it comes back, and I was thinking we could possibly now act as support. And we had a really nice inside candle set up right over there as well. But then it broke on the downside. So when I saw it, it was just breaking. I've just zoomed in just so we can all see it a bit better. That's the candle situation that I was interested in. But this little tail broke down, which basically spoilt it and didn't give us an entry. So it's unfortunate. Right now, I don't know which, because it broke down, it could continue to go down. When that's the beauty of price action, has prevented us from entering the trade. So I'm not confident to take a long just because I'm at that level. I would have been if we had broken the top of that candle. Well, I would have been in the trade. So at the moment with gold, I just got to wait and just see what plays out a little bit more. But the current pattern, I just wanted to highlight that for you. It was a really nice, and it's very horizontal, which is really nice. When we get these levels like this, we can get good opportunities from them. At the moment, gold, there's nothing there for us. We'll just monitor it, a couple more candles, and see if something else shows itself. Okay, let's move along and have a look at oil. Okay, let me just get rid of this line for one moment. I'll just pull it out of the way so we can see better. If I can grab it, that is. Okay, let me zoom in. So we've got a lot of activity just here, and look how tight the market is getting. We've just produced a doji inside candle. We're still inside there, so the market is compressing. It's compressing quite hard, and the length of these wicks, they're not these two candles particularly. They're not dojis, but they're pretty close to it, and so it's basically telling me that generally a doji type candle means indecision. Okay, it's happening at a level which we marked out, which could act as resistance. So the market doesn't really know. There's almost like equal amount of buyers as there is to sellers, and the market's not moving away from this particular region. I'm trying to see if I can possibly get a trade across, but I want to see something clearer, and I'm just not getting it. I'm not prepared to trade off any of these four candles, so I've got no choice but to sit and watch this one. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight that. Sometimes you'll see it and you'll get frustrated because you think like, oh, I really want to participate on this trade, but you just don't get the opportunity to do so. Okay, and look, if this ends up now just moving away gently like that, just say like that for example, then the reality is we could come back and draw our line like that as a rising wedge as opposed to what I originally had. And remember, it's not a line until you have the two levels confirmed. So this is the beauty, and this is why if we do get some kind of price action confirmation, it can at least give us a higher probability that yes, it will turn now, and then we can lock in that second point. Okay, so as it stands, this is all we really have, and I just need to wait and see how it plays out. Okay, let me just go back and recap. We've covered all the majors. If anybody has any questions, please type them in. I will address them for you. If you want me to have a look at something, let me know, and I shall do so. Aussie Dollar. Aussie Dollar, we're going to try an aggressive trade based off breaking through a rising wedge, coming back and retesting. So we need to wait for the current candle to finish. If it finishes as an inside candle, we want to attempt to trade the break on the downside. Euro USD 4-hour chart, we've just located this converging triangle. It's definitely the lines are locked in, and I just need to wait to approach one of the perimeters to see if I can get a trade. The cable this week, we said we're not going to touch it, so we leave it. US yen, we're inside a nice channel, and we're waiting to reach a higher probability that we're going to reach the top side of the channel, to see if we can get a trade back down. Euro yen, there is a bit of divergence, but not enough reasons to take the trade, but nonetheless we've highlighted divergence so you can track it. Kiwi dollar, we've drawn in a channel which I don't love, I'm not in love with, but nevertheless, let's just track it. Let's see what plays out from it. The bottom line is good. I'm happy to trade off the bottom line. Should the market come down to here, I will be happy to trade off that line. Okay. Of course, as always, I do need price action confirmation on the line before I will take the trade. US CAD, we're already short. Downtrend trade, we've pulled back up, produced the inside candle over here, and we've broken through it. So We are short US CAD. Gold. Gold is, there's nothing for us. All we've done is observe that a previous resistance point is possibly now going to act as support. WTI, we've got a bottom line, nothing up top. We're just waiting for some kind of confirmation and some retracement before we can actually draw ourselves a top line and possibly a rising wedge pattern. Okay, there you have it, guys. That's the week ahead. Let me just put back up important times of data to be released. Did anybody have any questions? If not, we'll just call it a day. If you're not watching the daily call, guys, follow me on Twitter at ChatFX. I'll just write that down for you so you can see it. I put up a video daily on all the news, the important news that has happened overnight, news that is about to happen today, and I put up a chart every single day of the highest probability trade that I can find in the morning. Okay, for those of you who are watching it, hope you're enjoying it. Any feedback on it is always appreciated. And yeah, any final questions? No? Okay, we will call it a afternoon. Hope you'll have a great trading week. I will speak to you all via the daily call tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll speak to you next week. Have a great week, guys. Bye for now.